Hi, I'm Lauren, a mom, former teacher turned children's book author, and your host who joins special guests each episode as we share our top kid-lit picks for sparking hard conversations the easy way. Yep, that means everything from tackling bullying and out-of-control anger to celebrating diversity, inclusion, and leading with kindness, plus so much more. My whole mission of my own children's book series, Blooming Rose, is to provide social and emotional support tools for in and out of the classroom, and this podcast is my way to expand that mission even further. So stay tuned as we dive into this week's topic on the Blooming Books podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the Blooming Books podcast. This episode is about freeing unbridled spirits and igniting true passions as we chat about nurturing ambition. I have two amazing guests joining us today. First is fellow author and mom Paige Murray, and the second is a talented illustrator behind not just Paige's new book, but our Blooming Rose books as well, Miss Kristen Humphrey. So ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes, it's so fun to be on here with Kristen, and what a fun idea.
I know, I love it. It was a good way to rope Kristen in here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pick your brains about books in a minute, but I'd love to kick things off with some rapid fire questions to get to know a little bit about you guys. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, so first, Paige, you and your family live on a ranch here in Texas. What kinds of animals do you have, and do you have a favorite?
Yes, so we live on a 2,800 acre cow-calf operation in Stephenville, Texas. And I have added the funny farm to the cattle. And so we have, if you're ready, I got a lot to name. Let's see if I can keep track. We have 3 dogs, 7 cats, 2 turkeys, 2 peafowl, 2 guinea birds, a bunch of chickens, chicken math, you just lose track of it.
Yeah.
We have a rat, a hamster, 2 goats, a mini horse, 3 donkeys, 3 rabbits, and I think that's all. And so
I know, I only have a fraction of that, and I can't keep up with the count either.
I was gonna say, y'all probably make me feel better about my amount of pets.
Yeah.
Yes, so I've always loved animals, and I majored in animal science at Clemson University. And I always just dreamed of living on a ranch and having lots of animals, and a lot of them are rescues. And so, I mean, I don't want to say I have a favorite, but we have a dog named Pete, and he showed up as a stray. He's a blackmouth cur about 2 years ago, and he's just the most unbelievable dog I've ever been around. You know, he was a full-grown dog. I don't know how old he is, maybe 5. But he was full grown when he showed up, and he's just been the most unbelievable dog, and he really feels like part of the family. And he's like so ferocious and protective, but so sensitive and so good with Oakley and kids. And I take him to the book readings at school for Rosie's Wild Ride, and I just think that's so cool. Like this hunting dog bred for hog hunting goes to schools with me, and it's not like I ever trained him, or he just does it, on his own. Like it's his personality, and he's never had any like professional training or anything. And he's just the most, he's so intelligent, so kind. And so he's a special one.
Oh, he sounds so sweet. I've seen him on Facebook before. He's just a good old dog, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I always say I don't have a favorite either, but I do have a least favorite, and it's one of the goats because they're naughty.
The goats are so naughty. They're so ornery and so mischievous, but they're so funny.
Yes, they're a mess.
Cute.
Kristen, you're also from here in Texas. Well, I know you lived here in Texas recently. Are you originally from here?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, when I think we've talked about where we're from before, but not too far from you.
Yeah, because you were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then you were in Lubbock, and then you almost moved down here to Houston. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be right down the street. We can hang out.
I
It's gonna be
know.
cool.
I
And then the
know.
last minute, you decided to switch it up and go all the way to Montana. But how was your first northern winter there? I'm sure it was amazingly beautiful and fun of adventure in its own way.
Yeah, so I was really scared of the Montana winter because everyone warned me that it was going to be intense. And winter is my least favorite season in Texas. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna suffer there."
Times 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually really liked it, and I really surprised myself. I wonder if it's just because it was so new to me, like
Yeah.
all the snow, and I kind of felt that once the temperature gets below a certain level, like below 20 degrees, it all feels the same,
Yeah.
you just you dress the same. And I actually picked up skiing for the first time ever. I've never skied before, being from Texas. There's not
Yeah.
really anywhere to ski, and I really liked that.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
really the only negative thing about the winter was, getting used to driving in it. That scared me a bit.
Mhm.
But thankfully, I
I
have
bet.
a car that's, like, good for winter conditions, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's like a totally different way of life that we probably don't understand down here. Because
Yeah.
if there's the slightest bit of ice on the roads, we all just close down, like, we all
Yes.
just stop,
Yeah,
life ends.
people here even ask me about that, like, "Don't y'all just shut down, when it's, like,
Yeah,
below
we
40?" And I'm like, "Pretty much."
pretty much do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paige, your husband Ty is a legend in the rodeo world, and by that I mean literally a seven-time world champion all-around rider and two-time world champion bull rider. Oh, and a co-founder of the little thing called the PBR, which is the Professional Bull Riding Association. It's a big deal, you guys. So I've heard your daughter Oakley has quite the tenacious spirit as well. So any inklings that she'll follow his footsteps in the rodeo arena one day herself?
Yeah, so Oakley, she has such a fun personality. She's fearless and determined, and she is just full of spirit and life. And so she loves, and I didn't include these in my funny farm animals, but we also have 8 horses. And so
Mhm.
including a Clydesdale named Rosie, and she's so special.
Yeah.
So Oakley has been competing on our play days where they barrel race, and it's called goat slapping, but you just get off and touch the goat. She likes to kiss the goat.
Mm.
Pole bending and all. And Rosie's so special because she's so gentle. She's a gentle giant. She's huge, but she's safe. And she's also given me my confidence back as a rider. So with
Mhm.
Oakley competing in rodeo, I don't know what she'll do. We just want her to find her passion, and we're exposing her to everything we could put her in and then see what she enjoys. So she's in dancing, she's done gymnastics and t-ball, she loves soccer. Then she does her barrel racing and her horseback riding lessons, and we just see what she enjoys. She definitely has the drive and the spirit in her to
The
chase
fearlessness, right?
yes, the fearlessness to chase rodeo dreams. So we'll just see what she wants to do. She's doing it all now and she's loving it all. And so it's fun to see. It's fun to go watch her do all these things.
That's fun. I'm sure they'll be fun to watch her as she gets older and older too.
Yeah.
Kristen, you're also an avid horsewoman. Can you tell us about your horse and where has been your favorite place to ride? I know you've been doing some riding up in Montana now.
Yeah, this is like horsewoman's trail rider's paradise up here, honestly.
Like living the Yellowstone life, right?
Yeah, for real. Um, yeah, the horse I have now, he's about to be 17-year-old Tennessee walking horse, and he's buckskin. He has a
It's beautiful.
beautiful long maiden tail.
Mhm.
Um, and I've had him for a year now. We just hit 1 year in March, and I've just been loving it. It's amazing here. Like, even at the barn I board at, there's beautiful mountains in the background, like, it's surrounding us. And I don't have my own truck and trailer yet, so I don't go out as often as I want to, but I did make some friends, and we've been out a couple times so far. So
They're good friends to have,
that's
huh?
been
Once
super
we're
nice. Yes, we have a little saddle club going on, and I love it.
Fun.
that is fun. So we all want our kids and students to dream big, take chances, and shoot for the stars. But what does it look like exactly to nurture that sense of ambition while they're young? I believe there are certain elements we can be mindful of, and that includes building their self esteem and confidence, providing opportunities to succeed and to fail, and supporting their visions and dreams, however far fetched they might seem at the time. Paige, we mentioned your daughter Oakley's confident spirit. Are there certain things that she wants to do and try that you might hesitate at first, but ultimately you have to decide to let her try it on her own with safety in mind, of course. But as parents, it's hard to see them try and fail, but it's such an important lesson, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that is an important lesson, and you learn more from failing than you ever do from succeeding. It's such a great learning opportunity. When I tell my stepson Case too, there are no mistakes. Every failure, you're learning something, you're progressing towards your goal. With Oakley's personality, I don't worry about her failing because she's very resilient, and my stepson's a little different. They have very different personalities. And I hear this all the time. People have a child that gets discouraged if they fail, and you have to constantly encourage them. And it's really hard to keep them interested in trying new things because they're scared of failing. And so that's a challenge in itself, but those kids are usually safer too. And so you don't have to worry about it as much. Oakley, she doesn't worry about failing. She doesn't get discouraged, but I have to worry about her like being safe and not getting hurt. And so she's got it's interesting, raising two kids that have such different personalities and having to adapt your parenting style to that. So I think if you have a child that is more resilient, you just don't worry about them as much as failing. You're just trying to keep her safe. And I do try to let her, she gets hurt a lot, but it's just part of it and part of growing. And then the next time she's more body aware and she can do things that, she couldn't do last week, or she got hurt last week. Now she can do it and you don't worry about her anymore. And then with a more of a sensitive, cautious child, you have to let them fail, but you have to make that disappointment manageable for them. And so it's like, you don't throw them into something brand new. You let them make small steps and practice, along the way in small increments instead of just letting them just go for it. And so that helps build their confidence and encourage them along the way, where they fail small and they don't get discouraged. So they want to keep trying. And so it's it's interesting depending on the child's personality.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. Because I'm just thinking back as you're saying that, my two kids are pretty similar as well. My son, he's younger, but he's also super cautious, and my daughter is the one that's, running around trying everything crazy. But, it reminds me, she fell off of a horse. She takes lessons, and she got bucked off of a mini horse. He's not mini, but he's not a full-size horse. But and that just shook her up for weeks, and just getting her calm enough to get back on. And as a parent, I kind of felt guilty for pushing her to get back on, because the chance of her getting hurt is there. It's not like I can say, oh, you're not going to fall off again, don't worry. You can't say that, but there's a balance of still pushing her and encouraging her to get back on. And she eventually did. And her coaches helped her through it because they're more resilient than I am and brave than I am. And then she fell off again. She actually slid off again last week. So it wasn't, the horse was just he was cantering weird, and she lost her balance, and she was like, it shook her up in the moment, but she got right back on. And she's like, okay, I know I'm shook up, but I know, the likelihood of it happening again is low, and I'm just going to get back on. And she kept riding. So seeing her progress through that was really cool experience for me, since I'm such a little chicken. And my husband's like, nope, she's getting back on, get back in the saddle, right? Isn't that like the whole term is get back on the saddle? And she did. So it's a little nerve-wracking, but definitely important to watch them grow through that. So even from a young age, I think it's important to support and encourage your kids' natural talents and interests. So Kristen, growing up, did you always love to draw? And how was your family's support when you decided to make it your career?
So yes, I've definitely always loved drawing. My mom still has a little scrapbook folder full of my drawings from when I was 2 years old.
Oh
And
my
of course
gosh.
they were animals. They're like little deer and things. But yeah, so I've been drawing for, I always say, as long as I can remember. It's always been
Well, I mean,
my
2 is literally as long as you can remember.
yes, literally. Yeah, as long as I could hold a pencil or a crayon or something. Um, I really took off with it around, I guess when I was preteen and early teens. I actually started getting people from Instagram asking me to draw their pets for them. And I would do that for 10 or $20 and mail them the drawing. And thankfully, my parents were really supportive of that. Everyone in my family thought it was super cool, and they were all
It
super
is,
sweet.
yeah.
Um, and I didn't really think it was possible to go into an artistic career until I would say mid-college.
Oh,
'Cause I
really?
actually, well, not mid-college, actually. I would say mid-high school, because I
Okay.
wanted to be a vet for a long time.
Mhm.
And it kinda got to a point where I was like, "Well, math and science isn't really my strongest area, so maybe I
Fair.
should look into something else." and I decided to go to animation school at Texas A&M. They have an animation program, and I would say like mid college, this is where I was getting to earlier, is when I decided I wasn't super into animation and I was way more interested in my graphic design and painting classes. And I just started looking into children's book illustration, and it really wasn't something I thought I could make happen until I just did. And
Yeah,
I'm really glad I went that way because
me
I
too.
seriously have,
Me
right?
too.
Thank you, guys. I seriously have like the dream job, and I've been doing it 6 years now, and it's just been going really well, and really happy with it. I'm so proud of the books that we've done together, and I can't wait to see the new ones come out.
Yeah. So speaking of your career, we'll segue into that.
Mhm.
You are, like we said, the amazing illustrator for Blooming Rose. It's been such a fun process watching you bring Blooming Rose to life through our first title, Blooming Rose Blast Off, and now just finishing up our second title, Blooming Rose Finds Her Jam, which I'm so
Mhm.
excited about. But you're also the illustrator for Paige's book, Rosie's Wild
Yeah.
Ride. So your ears must be burning constantly because I talk about you and your process during every author visit. I encourage the kids for not only careers in writing, but also illustration and animation. So can you tell us a little bit about your process of bringing these characters to life?
Yeah.
Rose and Rosie, yeah.
I know it's funny that y'all's books both share the Rose
Mhm.
name in them. Yeah, so usually we start with the author or the publisher will give me like character descriptions. And, it can be physical descriptions, it can also be physical descriptions, or it can be like personality descriptions. And I kind of just go off of that. In both of your cases, actually, your characters are based off of real people, real children, right? So
Mhm.
I also got reference images, and that helps a lot.
Okay.
And I start off with just like doing some sketches, and I'll usually try to do a little bit of a variety. And then we can go from there. Like, I like the eyes, I like the hair. Can we put this nose on this face? Things like that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for characters. Then we go to color after that once we approve sketches. And I'm usually given some guidance for that as well, like a color palette or like an outfit idea. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the characters. I love doing the animal characters as well, of course. It's like my favorite thing to draw, the little animals. And I love seeing all the reference photos for them as well.
They're always a favorite, like for author visits and stuff.
Yeah.
And because that I talked with the kids, I said like yes, when you see the finished product, it's hard to kind of go backwards, and especially for kids, and think about what goes into making that finished product. So
Mhm.
I show them one of the reference pictures when we were like picking out like Brady's glasses. We're like, okay, even like the shape of his glasses, even the clothes that they're wearing, even their hairstyles and their facial expressions, like all of that is a choice. Um, and I know I probably went a little overboard. And I think I gave you like a 10-page document on like everything I wanted,
Oh,
like
no, I
had
I love
lots of
having that.
notes. So do you love like winging it, or do you like having a little bit more guidance? Because I know some illustrators, there's an illustrator of the questionnaire series, and
Mhm.
he just gets the text and then he just totally makes up everything on his own. So is that more
Yeah.
stressful or less stressful or challenging, fun for you?
I would say there's like pros and cons to each. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really have a favorite, honestly, because with what you described, where I get like a really detailed PDF that kind of explains what they want on each page, and sometimes I even get things like kind of already spaced out on a page, and I'm
Okay. I
like,
didn't go
oh,
that
I
far. That
just
makes me feel better.
no, yeah, no, I've done a lot like that too, and then I basically just insert my style, and like
Yeah.
place everything where they want. Um, but yeah, I like both.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
yeah, something
Not
about,
to put you, no pressure, but yeah.
yeah, no, not at all. It's fun when I get to, like, almost have complete creative freedom, and kinda make things up as I go, but it's also nice to have structure because it leaves less room for, like, major
Yeah.
changes and
That's what I told myself, is that it cuts down on the like editing and review process, right? If
yeah, yeah.
you kind of have a good starting place. But
Mhm.
so Paige, speaking of Rosie's Wild Ride, I've heard you talk about it before, and one of the things you mentioned is when we think of challenges and limitations, it's usually, oh, I can't do that or I can't do this. But The real message of your book is, but what if I can? So can you tell us about your inspiration behind that message and that simple yet powerful shift just in perspective?
Yeah, that's such a simple phrase, what if I can? But I never thought of it this way until let's see, we were down at the round pen. Oakley was 3.5 years old, and she wanted to get on Rosie by herself, of course. And so I said, do you think you can get on that big horse by yourself? And she said, what if I can? And it wasn't like a question. It was just like a
Yeah.
curiosity and a wonder. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that is such a powerful statement for a 3.5-year-old to say. And it's not even that it's so simple, but like she never said, what if I can't? And I feel like most of the time, us as adults, or when you become accustomed to like the shame and embarrassment that comes with failure, sometimes the first thought in your mind when you want to try something new is, what if I can't?
Yeah.
So I just was like, wow, that's like the true testament to the human spirit to believe, what if I can? And it moves you from doubting yourself, to just wondering, curiosity, and your capabilities. And that's where that came from for this book. And I thought that was perfect for Oakley and Rosie, because Rosie, is so out of place on a ranch as a Clydesdale. And when you were talking earlier about finding your natural talents and helping a kid embracing their natural talents, that's kind of what I wanted this book to show with Rosie. The grouchy old barn cat Thumbs teases her constantly, says, you'll never be a rodeo horse, you're too big and you're too slow. And so it's like, well, what is Rosie going to be good at? What is her strength and her size going to make her good at? Those are her natural skills. So where is she going to fit in, and how is she going to make her dream come true using these natural talents? Just like you said too, Kristen, you wanted to be a veterinarian, but math and science weren't your strong points. So it's like, Rosie and Oakley have to figure out these events in rodeo aren't their strong points, but they do find where they belong in rodeo using her special and unique, like God-given talents and skills. And so that's just a special thing with Oakley and Rosie, and that's kind of how the whole book kind of came to mind.
I love that message so much. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, especially when it comes to parenting, but just a perspective of trying something new, whether you succeed or fail or love it or hate it, really builds that confidence to take on the world. We have that similar message in Bloom and Rose Blast Off about facing challenges, even if you don't want to, but realizing that it's okay to work hard. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to try and have to try again. And you just might surprise yourself. So that boost in confidence and resilience is key for that sense of pride and ambition to face, the next obstacle, right? Because they're like, oh, well, I could do this one. I thought I couldn't. Maybe I can try again and, do something else. So, and I almost, when I was doing the show notes, forgot about one other favorite book that I want to squeeze in here. It's called The Magical Yet. And it helps kids shift their perspective in a concrete way by introducing the magical yet, which is like this little character that's going to help them accomplish things or accomplish something that they haven't quite mastered just yet. So it reminds them that just because they aren't conquering their goals today doesn't mean that with practice and determination, they won't get there. So, Paige, I also just noticed when I was doing research for this episode that you have the next book listed for pre-order already, also illustrated by Kristen. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Or is this going to be a Rosie series, or is it top secret still?
No, it is going to be a Rosie series, and I'm so thankful, because like when I wrote this book, I just wanted it to do good enough that I could keep writing. It's like so fun. Like you said, this is also, but it's so exciting. Every step of this, seeing all the illustrations come through, just every part of it's exciting.
Yeah.
And so, yes, Kristen and I have another book coming out this fall in October, and we haven't made the official announcement, but it is listed for pre-order already on websites. We're just getting all the graphics and everything up on Amazon and the independent booksellers sites and all those places where you can purchase the book before we make the announcement. But it's going to be called Rosie's Ranch Rescue. And I love this story. I mean, Kristen, I haven't even been able to tell you how amazing the illustrations are. They're so beautiful. Oh my gosh, the colors are so beautiful. It's such a fun book.
Thank you.
Yes. So it takes place, during the night, and basically Rosie and Oakley and the Thumbs and Pete, the characters, have to rescue the herd of cattle and the baby calves from a pack of coyotes. And so it's a really fun, like, ranch adventure that celebrates like friendship and bravery And then, the special message in this that I am excited for parents to take away is that, there's no bad animals. They're all just trying to survive. And so it opens up a fun conversation you can have with your child about viewing things from a different perspective at the end. And so it was inspired by true events. Our dog Pete, that we love so much, got in a fight with a wild hog.
Oh no.
Thought he was going to die, and he was okay, but it kind of came from a conversation we had with Oakley. She was like, why, I'm so mad at that hog. Why did he want to hurt Pete? And we just had to talk to her about they're just all trying to survive. And so, it's such a fun book, and it's just full of adventure. And I'm telling you, the illustrations are absolutely incredible, and it just brings the story to life.
I'm sure Kristen makes it so easy, right?
Yes.
She sends all these, rough drafts and all that. I'm like, yeah, that looks great. Yeah, perfect. I'm like, sorry, this isn't more, cumbersome, but you got it. You nailed it on the first try every time.
Oh no, I love it when that happens. I'm like, oh, they liked it. And
yes, it is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I did want to take a second too to mention our SEL activity called Unique Explorations. So this lets kids explore what makes them unique and those traits of their fellow friends and students as well, so that we can recognize that we all have strengths and weaknesses, and that awareness can in turn help with their confidence and resilience when facing challenges. So, and as always, all the books mentioned on our episode in this resource are always linked at bloomingrosekids.com/podcast. So before we go, I wanted to give our listeners info on where to follow along with you guys. Paige, you have a fun blog called Boots and Biscuits and a page full of all you have going on. So where can listeners find you?
Yep, bootsandbiscuits.com, ranch recipes and stories from the ranch. And that's also where you can find the books, bootsandbiscuits.com/books. And then I'm on Instagram, Paige D. Murray, and then on Facebook, Paige Murray's Boots and Biscuits. And I love to post stories from the ranch and photos and pictures about our ranch life. So I'd love for you to come check it out and see the real characters from the book.
I know, it's so fun being able to put, your own animals and things in there, and the kids get to recognize that. So
yeah, I would reference Boots and Biscuits a few times while working on the book.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Kristen, you are officially represented by the New York City-based illustration agency called Astound, and your full portfolio can be found on their site, astound.us. But I know you have an Instagram full of all your work as well, so where can listeners check that out?
Yep. I have an Instagram that's just my illustration work, and it is Chrysalis, Krissillus. I combined my name and illustration.
Into the word chrysalis, which I love.
Yeah, chrysalis.
I know, yeah, chrysalis like butterfly. So yeah, that's where you can find me and my art. Sometimes I take commissions on there, mainly like pet portraits and things, but I've been a very busy bee the last couple of years, so it hasn't been super active. But yeah, it's been great. Anytime I work on a new book, that's the first place you'll see, if you're interested in following my work, I'll post there and say where you can get it and post some of my art from it, things like that.
Yeah. It's so fun. I said one of the fun things I love showing the kids too, especially when we do the publishing presentations, is the speed drawing you did of Rose. Like, so them watching you like draw and correct it and like go over it and everything. They just think that's so cool. Yeah. So fun.
A question.
I actually taught. Oh, sorry. What was the question?
Yeah, a question for you that some people have asked. If they're interested in trying to work with you as an illustrator, should they go through your agency, or how should they?
Oh yeah. So since I am represented by an agent, I do have to take on work through my agents. And I would recommend going to the agency's website. It's astound.us. And you can find my name and my portfolio in there. And then on my page, which is Kristen Humphrey, by the way, and it's in alphabetical order by first name, not last name. So if you go to my page, Kristen Humphrey, there's a little inquiry box where you can type in like, I'm interested in this artist. And that would be the best way to contact me about illustration.
Yes. If you're thinking about it, do it. Yes. Highly recommend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what a fun episode, ladies. Thank you so much. And I think that's a wrap. I hope you've gained a couple of aspirational nuggets for inspiring your children to chase their dreams. And we'll see you guys in the fall for our next season of the Blooming Books podcast. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Blooming Books podcast, recorded and produced by Blooming Rose Kids. We've opted to keep our series ad-free, and if you'd like to support our efforts, please consider shopping our own custom-signed Blooming Rose books at bloomingrosekids.com and our academic materials on our Teachers Pay Teachers page. All of the books mentioned in this episode are also available via our affiliate links in the show notes. We so appreciate you being here and hope to see you next time.